My grandfather had a pension. My father did not. I will not. And the generation behind me was told to be grateful for what little remains. I want to tell you how that happened. I want to tell you the whole story without the noise and the politics and the shouting. I want to tell you what actually occurred, the specific decisions and the specific people who made them, and what those decisions cost the workers who came after. And I want to be clear before we start. This is not a story about lazy young people failing to plan. This is a story about a system that was deliberately redesigned to benefit the people already inside it and deliberately left worse for everyone who arrived after. I have done the reading, and I want to share it with you now. To understand what was taken, you have to understand what was there first. A pension is simple. You work for a company or a government for a certain number of years. When you retire, that employer pays you a guaranteed monthly income for the rest of your life. It does not matter what the stock market does. It does not matter if there is a financial crisis. It does not matter if you made bad investment choices in your 30s. You showed up, you worked the years, you get the cash every month until you die. That is a pension, a defined benefit. The benefit is defined in advance. You know what you are getting. The employer carries the risk. In 1978, Congress passed the Revenue Act. Inside that act was a small provision, Section 401, subsection K. It allowed employees to defer a portion of their salary into an investment account on a pre-tax basis. The people who wrote it were thinking mostly about executive compensation. It was a tax break for high earners. It was not designed as a retirement system for the working class. That is important. The 401k was not designed as your retirement plan. It became your retirement plan because corporations figured out very quickly that they could stop funding pensions and point to the 401k instead. The 401k cost them less. The 401k shifted the risk to the worker. The 401k was a very good deal for the employer and a considerably less practical deal for the employee, and the transition happened fast, and it happened during a period when union density was falling and workers had less power to resist it. By 1985, the shift was already well underway. By 1995, it was effectively complete in the private sector. The workers who kept their pensions were the ones who had already earned them. The boomers who were mid-career or late career, who had accumulated years investing and could not easily be moved off their plans. The younger workers coming in behind them got the 401k. The two-tier system was not accidental. It was the point. They did not take your pension from you. They just made sure you never got one. There is a legal difference. There is no moral one. I want to be precise about what the 401k means versus the pension in practice. The pension, as I said, is guaranteed. The 401k is a market account. Its value goes up when the markets go up. Its value goes down when the markets go down. In 2000, the market crashed, and 401k balances across America fell by roughly $2 trillion. In 2008, they fell by approximately $2.4 trillion. In early 2020, they fell by nearly $3 trillion before recovering. Each one of those crashes was a retirement crisis that happened mostly to the people who did not have pensions. The people with pensions kept getting their check. They called it market volatility. For the workers, it was closer to Russian roulette with their retirement date. And the median 401k balance for Americans approaching retirement, Americans between the ages of 55 and 64, is about $134,000. That generates, at a safe withdrawal rate of 4%, about $446 a month. You cannot live on $446 a month. You cannot supplement it well enough on a fixed income. The system that was supposed to replace the pension produced, for the median worker, an amount that covers roughly a car payment and a phone bill. This is the system they traded the pension for. And then they told us to stop complaining and contribute more. Let us talk about Social Security now. Because even if the pension is gone, and even if the 401k is a lottery with your life savings, there is still Social Security. That is what we are told. There is still the safety net. There is still the program that has existed since 1935 and that has never missed a payment and that will be there when you need it. I want to look at the actual math, not the political version, the math. The Social Security Trust Fund, the reservoir of money that pays current benefits, is projected by the Social Security Administration's own trustees to be depleted by approximately 2033. That is not a left-wing estimate or a right-wing estimate. That is the program's own internal projection published in its own annual report. When the trust fund is depleted, Social Security does not disappear, but can only pay out what it takes in from current payroll taxes. At current projections, that means benefits will be cut by approximately 23% across the board unless Congress acts. Congress has known this for decades. Congress has not acted in any meaningful structural way since 1983, when they last made significant reforms. The 1983 reforms, incidentally, raised the retirement age and increased payroll taxes, both of which cost workers, while leaving the basic benefit structure in place for people who were already close to retirement. The people who were 25 in 1983 paid more in. The people who were 60 in 1983 kept receiving what they were promised. Pattern recognition is free. Trust fund depletion projected, 2033. Benefit cut if Congress doesn't act, 23%. Congress members with their own pension, all of them. Congress members who will personally feel Social Security cut, very few. Now I want to talk about what boomers will collect versus what you will put in, because this is the number that does not get said plainly. The Urban Institute, which is a nonpartisan research organization, has done extensive analysis of what different generations receive from Social Security and Medicare relative to what they paid in over their lifetime. The numbers are not close. A single male boomer who earned average wages his whole life paid in approximately $323,000 to Social Security and Medicare over his career. He will receive in lifetime benefits approximately $525,000. That is a positive return of about $200,000. The system was designed to produce that outcome. It worked as designed for the people it was designed around. A millennial earning average wages today will pay in significantly more in real dollars over a longer career. The payroll tax has increased, the wage base has expanded, careers are longer, and will receive benefits that, especially if the trust fund cuts occur, will represent at best a break-even proposition and quite possibly a significant lifetime loss. You are paying into a system that is returning your own money to the people ahead of you at a premium and is likely to return yours to you at a discount if it returns it at all. That is not a right-wing argument for destroying Social Security. I want to be clear. I am not making that argument. I am making the argument that the program needs to be repaired, expanded, and made solvent, and that the people most affected by its potential failure have the least power in the rooms where those decisions get made. The argument for fixing Social Security is the opposite of the argument for dismantling it. But you cannot make the argument for fixing it honestly without first being honest about what is happening to it. Here's why nothing changes. Here is the engine under everything I have described. Americans over 65 vote at a rate of approximately 70 to 75% in presidential elections. They have done this consistently for 40 years. They show up reliably, predictably, in every election cycle, including midterms, where the overall turnout drops and their relative influence grows even larger. Americans between 18 and 29 voted at a rate of approximately 40 to 50% in presidential elections and considerably less in midterms. In the 2014 midterms, where the Senate map was decided, where committee chairs were determined, where the direction of the following 2 years of legislation was set, youth voter turnout was 19%. 19. 1 in 5 young people voted in the election that shaped the most productive years of the legislative calendar. What that means in practice is this. Every politician running for Congress in a competitive district has a calculation to make. If I cut Social Security benefits, I anger a bloc that votes at 75%. If I let Social Security degrade slowly over decades, I anger a bloc that votes at 40% in good years and 19% in the years that actually matter. The math tells the politician what to do. The math always tells the politician what to do, and the math has been saying the same thing for 40 years, and the politicians have been listening. It is not that they do not care about young people. Some of them genuinely do. It is that in a representative democracy, you represent the people who show up, and the people who show up are the ones whose checks you protect, and the people who don't show up are the ones whose floor you quietly remove while they're looking at their phones. You are not powerless, you are absent. Those are not the same thing. One of them you can fix starting right now. When young people point at any of this, they get called several things. I want to go through the list because I have heard all of them, and I want to address them directly and finally. They call us entitled. We want something we did not earn. We want a pension we never built. We want Social Security that our generation did not create. We want guarantees that no one is owed. That is the entitled charge. It is a charge leveled at a generation that was told from birth that if you worked hard and played by the rules, the economy would hold up its end. When the economy does not hold up its end, noting that fact is not entitlement. It is contract law. The contract was broken. Describing a broken contract is not entitlement. It is just description. They call us financially illiterate. We do not understand how markets work. We do not understand compound interest. We do not understand that if we had started investing at 22, we would be fine by now. This argument requires not knowing what the median entry-level salary was in 2010 versus the median rent in 2010 versus the median student loan payment in 2010, which together produced a situation in which contributing meaningfully to a 401k at 22 was, for a large number of people, literally not arithmetically possible. You cannot compound the interest on money you do not have. This is not a financial literacy failure. This is a math problem that financial literacy cannot solve. They call us impatient. We want everything now. We do not want to put in the years. We do not want to wait our turn. Our turn. That is the phrase, wait your turn. As if there is a line and the line is moving and all you have to do is stand in it long enough. The line used to move. In 1965, the line moved. In 1975, the line moved. The line stopped moving sometime in the mid-1990s for the working and middle classes. And the people at the front of the line declared the line working and told the people at the back to be patient. And the people at the back have now been patient for 30 years, and the front of the line has retired very comfortably, and the line is still not moving. They call us ungrateful. Be grateful you have Social Security at all. Be grateful you have a 401k at all. Be grateful you have any retirement vehicle at all. I am grateful. I am grateful the way a person handed a leaky boat is grateful. I would be more grateful for a boat that did not leak. Gratitude for a degraded version of something does not obligate you to stop trying to make it less degraded. Gratitude and ambition for better are not opposites. Any parent should know this. The ones calling us ungrateful often spent 30 years telling us to always want to improve, and then decided that improvement meant something different when the thing being improved was their retirement arrangement. I want to talk about the anger for a minute. My anger. The anger I am carrying into this video, and the anger I think a lot of you carry, and the question of what it is for and whether it is useful. The anger is for a specific thing. It is not generalized resentment of older people. My grandfather, as I said, had a pension. He also worked a job that destroyed his knees and had a cough by the time he was 60 that he never talked about and died earlier than he should have. I am not angry at him. I am not angry at the majority of boomers who worked hard and got what they were promised and lived their lives. Most of them did not design this system. Most of them just lived in it the way most people live in systems, using what is available and not spending much time asking who built the walls. The anger is for the architects. The anger is for the legislators who changed the rules and the corporate boards who eliminated the pensions and the think tanks funded by people who had already retired very comfortably to produce papers arguing that the market was the right vehicle for working class retirement security. The anger is for the people who knew the Social Security projections and did nothing because doing something would cost them votes from people who are already inside the system and safe. The anger is targeted. It has an address. It is not a spray of resentment at an entire generation. It is a specific, documented, factual account of specific decisions with specific consequences and a specific bill that was handed to specific people who did not vote for any of it. That is what the anger is for. Keep it pointed. Pointed anger is a tool. Diffuse anger is just exhaustion. I want to speak directly to the Gen Z people in this conversation now because there is something important I want to say to you specifically, and I want to say it clearly. You are entering a retirement landscape that is worse than the one I entered. That is not hyperbole. That is arithmetic. The Social Security Trust Fund is 9 years closer to depletion than it was when I started working. The median 401k match from employers has stagnated. Gig and contract work, the employment structure that has expanded most rapidly during your entry into the workforce, comes with no employer retirement contribution whatsoever. Zero. You can contribute to an IRA on your own, but the contribution limits are low, and the awareness of them among 22-year-olds trying to pay rent is, understandably, not high. The homeownership path, which for previous generations served as a secondary retirement vehicle, the house you sell to fund your final years, is closed or closing for most of you in any city where the economic activity is concentrated. The asset that supplemented Social Security and the pension for the greatest generation and the boomers is simply not accessible to 24-year-old making $50,000 a year in a city where one bedroom rents for $2,400 a month. You're being asked to build a retirement on a foundation that has been systematically removed. And then you are being evaluated on the quality of the building. And the people evaluating you built their buildings on bedrock and cannot see the difference from where they are standing. I see it. I want you to know I see it. And I want you to know that seeing it clearly is the first and most important thing. You cannot fix a problem you have agreed to misidentify as your personal failing. This is not a personal failing. This is an inherited structural deficit. Those require different solutions. The solution to a personal failing is try harder. The solution to a structural deficit is change the structure. Okay, here's the part where I tell you what we actually do, because I am not interested in 30 minutes of grievance that ends without a direction. The grievance is accurate. Now we need to move. The first thing is the most obvious and the most ignored. Vote in every election, including the ones that feel small. The Social Security Trustees Report, the projected depletion rate, the 23% cut. These are not secrets. Every member of Congress has access to this data. The reason it has not been addressed is not ignorance. It is political calculation. The calculation changes when the electorate changes. It does not change gradually. It changes when a voting bloc becomes too large to ignore. We are that bloc on paper. We are not that bloc yet at the polls. We need to become that bloc at the polls. That is the foundational move. Everything else builds on it. The second thing, learn the specific local races. Your state legislator sets rules about public employee pensions, teacher pensions, municipal worker pensions, the pensions of the people who taught you and pick up your trash and staff your public hospitals. Those races happen in off years with turnout in the single digits. The people protecting existing pension arrangements for already retired workers show up to those races. You need to show up to those races. The future of public retirement security in your state is being decided in elections where sometimes the margin is 300 votes. The third thing, push on Social Security solvency as a young person's issue. Not because you want to cut it, the opposite. Because the way Social Security gets cut is by doing nothing. The way it gets strengthened is by expanding the payroll tax cap. Currently, income above $168,000 per year is not taxed for Social Security, and by other revenue measures that the wealthy have successfully resisted for 40 years because the wealthy do not depend on Social Security and the elderly middle class who do depend on it are too afraid of any change to support even the changes that would benefit them. Breaking that logjam requires young voters in the room saying loudly, "We want this program to exist when we retire. Fix it now, or we will replace the people who won't." The fourth thing is for the employed. Push for retirement benefits. When you are at a job that offers no 401k match, no pension, no retirement contribution, and increasingly that is the job you have, that is a compensation negotiation issue. It is not a given. It is a benefit that was standard for your parents' generation and has been normalized away for yours. Name it. Ask for it. And when you are in a position of any organizational influence, advocate for it for the people under you. The culture of accepting no retirement benefit as normal was built over 30 years. It can be rebuilt over a shorter period if enough people refuse to accept it as normal. The fifth thing is the hardest and most important. Stay informed and stay angry in the right direction. Not angry at the old people on fixed incomes who depend on Social Security to eat. Not angry at the public school teacher who has a pension because a union fought for it 40 years ago. Angry at the structural choices that said these workers deserve guaranteed retirement income and those workers deserve market exposure. Angry at the people who made those choices and the people who continue to protect them. Angry specifically. Angry accurately. Angry usefully. My grandfather had a pension. He worked 31 years. The check came every month. He did not have to think about the stock market. He did not have to manage an account or rebalance a portfolio or worry about a sequence of returns risk, which is a term that did not need to exist in regular working class life until the pension went away and somebody had to explain why your retirement could be ruined by retiring in the wrong year. He just worked, and then he rested, and the deal he was promised was honored because the deal was written into law and the law held. I want that for me. I want it for the people behind me even more. I want it because it is not radical. It exists in Germany. It exists in Denmark. It exists in the Netherlands and Australia and Japan. It is not a utopian fantasy. It is a policy choice that other developed nations made and that this one unmade slowly over 40 years while telling the people losing it that the market was better anyway, and if you were smart, you would see that, and if you couldn't see it, the problem was your financial literacy. The problem was not our financial literacy. The problem was a system redesigned by the people already inside it for the benefit of the people already inside it at the expense of everyone who came to the door after they had already gotten through. We are at the door. We have been at the door. The door has been locked from the inside for 40 years. We need enough of us at the door, loud enough, organized enough, and showing up at the polls consistently enough that the people on the inside decide it is less costly to open it than to keep it locked. That is the work. It is not glamorous. It does not go viral. It is showing up. It is the same thing my grandfather's generation did to build the system in the first place. They showed up. They organized. They demanded. They voted. And the people in power at the time decided it was less costly to give them the floor than to fight the people standing on nothing. We stand on nothing. We know it. Now we do what they did. We show up. My grandfather had a pension. I know why I don't. You know now too. That knowledge is the beginning. Show up. That is all.